Now, this next topic we're covering is what's called composition of functions. And it's not necessarily in our textbook, but something that's important to know. And so maybe this is probably the first time you're ever seeing this. So composition of functions is when one function is inside of another function. Okay, it's inside of another function. So in composite functions, it is very important that we pay attention to the order in which the composition is written. Order. So for example, f of g of x, this here, equals f of g of x. The g function is inside of the f function. So you see that g is in the inside. Then if we take a look at the other example, g of f of x, and then so you can rewrite it as g of f of x, the f function is inside of the g function. So here are the steps to find the composition of two functions. Step 1, you're going to rewrite the composition in a different form. For example, the composition of f of g of x needs to be rewritten as f of g of x. Step 2, replace each occurrence of x found in the outside function with the inside function. For example, in the composition of f of g of x, we need to replace each x found in the f of x, the outside function, with the g of x, the inside function. And then we're going to simplify the answer. So for now, you're like, oh my gosh, lots of stuff going on. So let's look at an example. So in the first example, we have f of x equals negative 4x plus 9, and g of x equals 2x minus 7. We're going to find f of g of x. So first, let's rewrite this as f of g of x. So that means our g of x is going to be written inside of the f function. Okay, the f function. So just think of this g of x maybe as, let's make this a box, right? So f, and then we're plugging in this rectangle, this, into where we see our x values. So let's just try it. We have negative 4 times x, whatever that g of x is, so g of x, which is 2x minus 7, and then plus 9. So it's substitution, really. So then you solve. So I think the hardest part is just being able to plug it in correctly. So then let's distribute. This becomes negative 4 times 2, 8x, and then 7 times 4 is positive 28 plus 9. So this is f of g of x equals negative 8x plus 37. Okay, next. We have f of x equals negative 4x plus 9, and g of x equals 2x minus 7. So we're using the same exact functions, right? But we're doing it the other directions now. G of f of x. So g, and then gets written first, and then the f is in the inside. Okay, so that gets written first, and then you write the f of x in the inside. So this time, we are taking our f of x function, and it's going to go inside of the g of x. So let's make that a rectangle. And then the g of x is our function here. So let's write it. This is 2 times f of x, negative 4x plus 9, then minus 7. So now let's distribute to solve. This becomes 2 times negative 4x is negative 8x. 2 times 9 is positive 18 minus 7. So g of f of x equals negative 8x plus 11. Okay, so that's one more example. Let's do another one. So we have h of x equals 3x minus 5, and g of x equals 2x squared minus 7x. Find g of h of x. So go ahead and try this out, actually, and I'll go ahead and work it out in the next video.